Hello and welcome to our Culture Magazine on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober, and today we have a wonderful show for you. The traditional Jewish book of Passover gets a makeover by young Israeli illustrators. T-shirts with nationalist Palestinian logos are the latest trend in Gaza. And we'll take a look at films released after the death of their stars. But first, some of today's cultural headlines. Guitarist John McLaughlin is set to play in Ramallah on Wednesday. The legendary 72-year-old musician will play a concert in the city to support a Palestinian NGO that uses music to help people in the Palestinian territories deal with the harsh reality there. McLaughlin already played a concert in Ramallah in 2012, and in a press conference on Tuesday, the guitarist talked about his contribution to the efforts to help the Palestinians.
We're not making some gigantic contribution, not building a dam or a reservoir. We're just playing music. But music, for me, I'm a musician. Music is a very powerful power. I think it's the most loving power ever.
The new film Captain America: The Winter Soldier came out last week and already made more than $200 million. These figures make the Marvel film series that started with Iron Man in 2008 the highest grossing film series in U.S. cinema ever. With the domestic grosses of almost $2.5 billion, the series has made more than the 7 Star Wars films, the 8 Harry Potter films, and even 24 James Bond films. It should be noted that worldwide, Harry Potter still has the lead with almost $8 billion, while the Marvel movies brought in $7.7 billion globally. But keep in mind, though, they're not making any new Harry Potter movies, while Marvel Studios have plans all the way to the 2020s. That's a lot of box office. And artist Richard Serra has put up a new installation in Qatar. The work consists of 4 large metal plates spread over a kilometer at the Brook Nature Reserve, 60 kilometers from the city of Doha. The piece was commissioned by the Qatar Museums Authority through its chairperson, the Sheikha Al Mayasa. The Sheikha has been purchasing and commissioning many artworks in the last few years, becoming a major power in the global art world. Personally, Sarah's monoliths throw me back to Stanley Kubrick's film 2001: A Space Odyssey, so maybe the residents of Qatar should look out for any monkeys who suddenly become very intelligent. Now, we're coming upon the Jewish holiday of Passover, when families gather to read the Haggadah, the telling of the great exodus from Egypt. A new illustrated version of the ancient book has now been published by Asufa, a design store in Jaffa. Each of the 45 Israeli illustrators involved was tasked with designing a 2-page spread, and the result is a stunning Haggadah. With me in the studio are 2 of the artists involved, Adi Elkin, aka Adigi, hello.
Hey.
And Gili Miller from the design studio Relevant. Hello, Gili. Thanks both of you for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
So first off, how do you approach something? Let's start with Adi. How do you approach something that's so, old and well known and has such deep meanings for the Jewish people?
Well, I thought about thinking about in modern aspect. When I read the part I was about to illustrate,
right.
I was thinking about, it was about paganist worshippers, and I was thinking about hippies and Woodstock festivals and glam rock festivals. So
Trying to make it more current, more modern, right?
Yeah, like peace and love happening and happiness, and one party pooper, Abraham, who is not involved in all this, because the Jewish people has more meaning that celebrate and in parties all day and night long.
I see. Gili, what was your approach?
So our approach was a bit different because we got a really old text that was speaking about some like rabbinic discussion, and we thought about how to approach it. And then in the end we saw that although it's old text, it's just they're fighting between themselves how many makot, how many plagues were to Israel, and we said why not wrestle between the rabbinic different discussions. So that's what happens.
I see. Yeah, it's an interesting take on it. Now, as you said, you say we because you've worked as part of a studio, right? How do you work? Several people on something like that?
It's so hard. No, the truth is that most of the project we just brainstorm together and then we go into details, and so someone will do one part of it and someone else will do the other part. Most of the projects are a little bigger than designing a spread, but it was interesting.
And you're practicing Jew?
Yes.
So did it have some deeper meaning for you to work on it?
It was actually a great opportunity because usually, you sit in the Seder and you read the Haggadah and you remember what your teacher from first grade told you have to read and you have to be nice and to listen, and it's like a whole story about it. And now it was just like taking the text and reading it all over again and looking at it in a whole different
Fresh
perspective.
eyes, yeah.
So it was good.
That does sound nice. Adi, this Haggadah, because of the large number of people involved, it's pretty much a showcase of current Israeli illustrators and designers. And there seems to be a lot of you. Where'd you all come from all of a sudden?
Usually from home, but
Yeah, there isn't a 9-to-5 job. No, but seriously, because in recent years there seems to be like an influx of young illustrators.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for this?
I think there's more awareness of Israeli illustration scenes. We do more things, more teachers, more people interested in being an illustrator. It's not, just illustrating kids' books that nobody reads. It's an art.
Yeah, it's an art. It certainly is, and it's nice to see more and more people partake in it. You've also done other projects that deal with the things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you became famous for.
I did series about Tel Aviv in the 80s. Famous Tel Aviv places in the 80s because I was born and raised in Tel Aviv.
Right.
So it's big part of my childhood.
Something a little more nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that now. It's
This is the big mall.
Everybody who's been around back then remembers it that way. All right, it's beautiful work, and again, thank you both for coming in today, and looking forward to read the Haggadah in the Passover Seder. Thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to a different design subject, T-shirts sporting nationalist Palestinian slogans are the latest fashion craze in Gaza. Trendy and artistic, the shirts' logos express the Palestinians' aspirations. Michal Divon takes a look.
What evolved from undergarments used in the 19th century has transformed into a medium for self-expression and advertising, creating what we know today as the modern T-shirt. Since the 1980s, T-shirts have flourished as a form of personal expression and a medium to express political agenda. Likely the most popular item of clothing on the market, the T-shirt has been a trendsetter both in style and content for decades. T-shirt stores in Jerusalem are a major souvenir attraction for tourists and include an array of political, religious, and gender-based humoristic and satiric prints. In one place, you can find an IDF logo hanging next to a Free Palestine T-shirt. This Jerusalem trend, which has been ongoing for years, has recently taken off not too far in the Palestinian Gaza Strip.
There is a lot of interest in the shirts, especially lately. It's proven to be very popular, and we've been doing this now for 5 seasons. There is a lot of interest from young people in Palestine and even abroad.
Fashion-savvy shoppers in Gaza are keen to show off what has become the latest trend in the territory, T-shirts with Palestinian slogans across the chest. With Israeli-Palestinian peace talks at a standstill, clothing expressing Palestinian nationalist desires are increasingly popular, especially among Palestinian youth. Some T-shirts bear prints outlining the borders of Palestine prior to the existence of the State of Israel, along with the words, "All the land is ours." Others have "To Jerusalem" written across them.
When you find a t-shirt with Arabic writing on it, and also the words that are written in Arabic speak about your case, or symbolizes something related to your national cause, then it's close to your heart. Naturally, you're going to wear the shirt, even if it's very expensive, because it represents an issue that affects your reality.
The shirts are sold in Gaza between 50 to 80 shekels, the equivalent of 15 to 23 US dollars. Those outside the Strip can buy them online via Facebook and Twitter.
Now, in just a moment, we'll hear about actors' final films released after their passing. But first, here are some cultural highlights from around the world.
The Van Gogh Foundation, a new cultural facility in the city of Arles, is paying tribute to the Dutch master, dedicating 1,000 square meters of exhibition space to his work and legacy. The opening exhibition, Van Gogh Alive, shows how techniques of light and color were gradually explored and used by the famous painter. The second space of the exhibition will feature 9 contemporary artists inspired by Van Gogh's work, among them Bethan Hus and Guillaume Bruer. Keywords, Art, Culture and Society in 1980s Britain is a new take on how the changes in the meaning of words reflect the cultural shifts in our society. This dynamic exhibition takes its name and focus from the seminal 1976 Raymond Williams book on the vocabulary of culture and society. Keywords brings together more than 60 works of art, which have had a major influence on modern society. Social struggles, women's liberation, the fight for gay rights. These themes greatly inspired artists of the time. You can find their works on display at the Tate Liverpool until May the 11th. Israeli artist Liz Hagag explores the relationship between raw materials and finished products. What are the creative possibilities for combining different materials such as felt, iron, mud, or rubber? No preservation, no nothing, the artist's first solo exhibition explores the manipulations made on raw materials when exposed to air and sunlight through the process of oxidation. The exhibit will run at the Tel Aviv Raw Art Gallery until May the 10th.
And now, Shachar Peled is here for her recurring segment, Off Screen. You're going to make me cry, aren't you?
I am. We've got a resurrection segment today, unfortunately. As Hollywood does promise its stars an everlasting life, an eternal life, but unfortunately some of them do die in the middle of projects and they risk their everlasting reputations, and sometimes they give the studios a handful of problems.
Yeah.
The classic example,
it's
I
not
think...
their choice,
It's
just to
not
make
their
it
choice,
clear.
of
Yeah,
course, but if you can avoid it. I think a classic example is the 1999 death of Oliver Reed in the middle of filming of The Gladiator. He had a very prominent role there as Proximo, the elderly, a slave dealer, with the famous sentence, take the crowd and you'll take your freedom. And they couldn't just cut him out. So what they did, they used a double and digitally put him in the outtake footage. So that was a problem. But this week was filled with Return of the Dead. We had only a few days ago James Gandolfini, with the releasing of The Drop, the trailer of The Drop, the final film. Yes, the final film he took part in. It's symbolically a crime drama of the Brooklyn's underworld, gangster underworld, and I think this is the way he would like us to remember him. Of course, Tony Soprano will always be part of him, but I think his last feature on the screen, Enough Said, the romantic comedy with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I don't believe this was the way he would have wanted us to remember him.
I tend to agree.
Yeah, so I think this is a great finale for Gandolfini, and only a few days ago, the entertainment world lost 93-year-old Mickey Rooney. He was actually still working, very active, and only last month he finished shooting the final scenes of the 2014 version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And he did finish?
He did finish it. It will be out in October 2014 this year, and after 300 portrayals on screen, both on TV and in cinema, we'll see him here again. And I think a very interesting story is the death of Brittany Murphy back in 2009.
Yep.
Her final film will be released in the upcoming weekend.
Oh, they
a
took
thriller.
their time editing
Yeah,
it.
they took their time, but no, there was a problem with the deal for the distribution. It's a
Right.
thriller called Something Wicked, and it will be released finally this upcoming weekend in a limited release. But I think we'll always remember her as the clueless girl who needs a makeover in Clueless. And finally, the most anticipated film of the year, The Hunger Games: Mockingjay
They
Part
have a
1.
problem there.
And they have a problem there. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who died earlier this year, unexpectedly of a heart attack. He did do all his filming apart from a crucial scene. He had 1 week left, and Lionsgate, the production company, will probably use CG to finish recording the final film. So
Well, they don't have a budget problem, so I'm sure they'll manage.
They don't. Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jaffa.
Thank you, Odette.
Thank you for joining us as well. I hope you enjoyed watching our show. You're welcome to join us again tomorrow. We'll be right here.